All right, daylight. I had to jump up to F8 because I didn't put the ND filter on. And really, I could probably go higher because I'm still like 2 stops overexposed. Like this is F16. I just don't like it because you can see everything in the background. But I suppose that's to be expected, right? Anyway, I like, if this is what we're getting, I think I like it. Like, I might want to do a little bit of color adjustment, but I think like it's contrasty, but not like super contrasty, which is good. I don't want it to be like super washed out or super contrasty. And it's not like contrasty either. It's like just, it's a good amount of saturation. I think maybe a little too much saturation. I think maybe we'll cut some of the saturation down. But it looks good. This is the Viltrox, the 20 mil. We're still at 1/60th of a second, which is good. Using the mic mini, as you can see. And yeah, I think that's a pretty good looking shot considering I don't have an ND filter on. I would prefer, of course, to be at a lower aperture or a faster aperture. Whatever. I'd prefer to be at like f2.8 where this lens kind of lives on my camera at least. But I forgot my ND filter, and we're not gonna be out here long, so it doesn't matter that much, I don't think. We're also a little bit louder on the mic mini just to see if it doesn't look like we're peaking at all. Just so that I can talk normally and not have to like super project, because it is still early and I don't want to disturb anybody. Facing the sun. Woo! The fence is the fence is blown out. The highlights in the sky are a little blown out, but everything else looks like it's pretty good. I don't know that this would be like an ideal vlogging focal length. I mean, honestly, it might be because it's nice and Lord have mercy. This security system get on my nerves, boy. It might be a good vlogging angle because I can hold it about here, and it's pretty tight, but it's not like ridiculous. So yeah, 20 mil full frame. Stick with the 11, I think, on the APS-C because it's a 16. We got the 27 from Viltrox coming, which is exciting. As well as the, you ready to go in, babe? Okay. As well as the 40 mil from Viltrox. I was thinking about, are you coming? Come on. This is the, come on. I was thinking about going with the 40 millimeter Sony lens, but I don't know. I think the Viltrox really has been impressive for me. Like, the Sony lenses are so expensive, and the Viltrox lenses are way cheaper. And especially since everything's about to start skyrocketing. Like, the goal was to get as much gear as I could, as quickly as I could, so that I didn't have to, like, choose between rent and gear. Every time I look at this dog, she doing something she not supposed to be doing, I swear. Every time, bro. What are you doing? There's definitely a significantly, like, better, I don't want to say like color science, because I feel like the FX30 has like, I mean, like S-Cinetone is great in all of these camera bodies, but I don't know, there is something about this sensor that just is nice. Like, the FX30 is very clinical, and that's kind of what I want out of a work camera, right? You know what I mean? Like, I want it to be able to give me the most dynamic range so that I can do the most with it. That was me, baby. That was me walking. But there's definitely like a hierarchy to how, like, good this stuff looks. And like, I still think the FX30 has a better, like, not a better look necessarily, like straight out of camera, but has the most, like, gives me the most to work with. This is great. And like the original goal was to get the ZV-E10 Mark II to be my, like, sort of kick around everyday, like, camera. The FX30 was going to be the work camera, and then I got a really good deal on a used A7C, and yeah, I think this has flipped the script a little bit. Not that it will be the A cam, although I think that, like, it could maybe potentially take that spot if it doesn't, like, overheat, the batteries don't die. Like, it is getting warm right now, which is good because it's cold outside. But like, if it overheats and dies, like the ZVE10 has done that a couple times now. Not often, just a few times. But I haven't really driven it. Whereas I've used the FX30 every week for 6 months now, and it is a workhorse, a beast, and I never have to worry about it. But I do think that, like, for the ZVE10, and maybe for this too, because of the body size and the fact that it doesn't have, like, a fan, I probably will have to worry about it a little bit more, but not nearly as much as the ZVE10. Like, I feel like the ZVE10 is less reliable specifically for my content. Like, I feel like it would be great for, you know, little running gun clips, vlogging and stuff like that. Like, so like this even, you know, I feel like that's a, especially for the money, like, that's an easy win. But not having that in-body image stabilization, I didn't think it would be a big deal, but it kind of is. Like, I didn't think I would care that much, but, like, especially ever since the using the Osmo Pocket 3, like, if it's not simple as that, and it's not as stable as that, like, it's really hard to justify, right? Even if it looks better. And, like, the ZVE10 does look better, but it is less useful. Whereas I feel like, especially a hybrid, like, maybe I probably should have gone with the A6700, and that would have eliminated most problems that I have with the ZVE10. Like, the A6700 has the mechanical shutter. It has the like, it still overheats, but not as much. It has a viewfinder, which I didn't think would be as big of a deal as it is, which I should have. I should have known. I've never owned a camera without a viewfinder until the FX30, so I don't know what I was thinking. Like, I was like, oh, I could just use the touchscreen. I can't see through the viewfinder as much anymore. And really, it's just that the Olympus viewfinder is like 10 years old, and I'm old, and the technology has gotten better. And it doesn't really have anything to do with the viewfinder itself as much as it is the tech that made that particular viewfinder. And, you know, this one is pretty good. I still think, it's not the best viewfinder I've ever looked through. Some of the Nikon stuff, especially since I'm used to, like, okay, so I'm used to 35 millimeter cameras, like film cameras, when it comes to viewfinders. So the best viewfinder I've ever used is the optical viewfinder in the Olympus OM2 or OM20, which is a optical viewfinder glass. There's a vertical line that goes halfway through the viewfinder, and it makes it really easy to check your focus on that camera, because if it's out of focus, the view will be split in half. So, like, even though it's a little bit slower to focus, and I love the 50 on it, but even though it's a little slower to focus, I've never actually missed that much focus on the film camera because it's so easy to focus. And I feel like Olympus kind of dropped the ball with the EVFs. on their lower end cameras. And it's not, I can't say anything about the OM1 because I haven't shot the OM1. What I will say though is that, like, now that I'm holding a full frame camera in my hands for the first time in a long time, and using it regularly for the first time ever, outside of 35 millimeter, like, actual film cameras, I will say that I'm super impressed with how far the tech has come. Like, I didn't get into full frame because it was bigger and heavier and more expensive, and everything was everything was considerably more when it came to full frame systems back then. Like, everything was bigger, everything was heavier, everything cost like 2, 3, 4 times the price of what we were getting with APS-C, and especially Micro Four Thirds at the time. Like, Micro Four Thirds was almost budget in comparison to, like, the way that those things think. And then the tech caught up, and Micro Four Thirds kind of became not less good, because I still love, like, the Olympus color science. Other than Fujifilm, I think Olympus has the best, like, right out of camera color science. It just became very difficult to keep up with stuff because I was taking it on professional jobs and I was shooting, like I was shooting events, and it couldn't do, like, really well in low light, even with an f1.8 lens, and, like, the pro lenses, as good as they are, were like $2,000 and $3,000, and I couldn't justify spending $2,000 on a lens for a $500 camera body. And that, Hallie, get out of the rose bed. Go ahead and be mad. But I couldn't justify spending that much on the lens at the time, because I also, like, didn't realize that, like, how important glass was when I started shooting. If I had known, like, that I would be doing it forever on Micro Four Thirds, like, if I had known that I was going to sell everything, I would have invested a little more heavily in the glass for the Micro Four Thirds system. But I love the smallness and the compactness of it, and I didn't want big lenses to carry around, and the pro lenses were big and heavy and expensive, and on a smaller, lighter camera body, it's really hard for that to, like, be good. Stuff's changed. Like, the full frame stuff now, like, I'm shooting on the A7CII, like, the full frame stuff now is so much smaller and lighter than it was. Yeah, I mean, you can still buy a big professional camera with, like, everybody's always harping about 2 SD card slots, which I will say is one of the reasons that I got the FX30. Like, I'm not saying it's not important. I'm just saying it's not the most important thing. I've only ever had, in my entire 20-year career doing photo and video, one SD card fail on me. And that's not to say that it won't ever happen. That's just to say that it's more rare than people like tell you that it is. And now, granted, I'm also not shooting, like, sports or wildlife, with, like, super crazy burst rates and giant photo sizes. I'm shooting portraits most of the time. You can kind of fudge the numbers a little bit. You can get away with more with portrait photography, especially the way that I do it, which is kind of like this, like, out in the environment, not like super studio heavy, not super produced, just kind of raw, and I want it to look as close to the 35 millimeter film that I love as possible, and especially the medium format film that I love as possible. So one day I'd love to shoot on, like, the Fuji medium format stuff, and that would probably be, like, my photo camera. Like, I would bring that to do any kind of, like, serious work. But in the meantime, I feel like there's a misconception that just because something is full frame, that means it's automatically better in every way. And I will say that there is a look right? There's something that you get from full frame that is more what you're used to seeing. I won't say it's better because it is its own thing, but like if we're at least my generation is used to seeing 35 millimeter film stuff. So people in my generation tend to want that look, which is why we're so like why photographers of my ilk and older harp so much on full frame is because we're expecting 35 millimeter film, or medium format film. So we want larger sensors, bigger, like larger sensors, more megapixels. And when I got out of that mindset, and stopped chasing that because I was shooting film, I didn't own a full frame digital camera because I was shooting film. So what do I need a full frame digital camera for when I'm shooting 35 millimeter film? And then it became harder and harder to find and develop 35 millimeter film. And it sort of, fell by the wayside. And I was like, okay, well, I guess we're just doing digital and like point and shoot, because the point and shoot doesn't matter, as much, and I can send that off to get developed and it's fine. Yeah, ever since we lost our local 35 millimeter film store, our developers, and if there's any around, hit me up in the comments, let me know, because that would be amazing. I'd love to start shooting film again. It's cheaper in the long run. It's the quality is there now. It's kind of like I feel about like the same way that I feel about amps, is that I love using them, but they are more inconvenient in almost every way and only marginally better sounding. They're better feeling, they're better looking, they're better, like they do a lot of cool stuff aesthetically, but practically, I'll take my HX Stomp every day over my Bassman, mostly because I can actually carry it. and the Bassman's not super heavy, but like it's just the practicality and the ease of use. And it's the same thing that I was thinking with cameras and with film, and especially with a full frame digital camera at the time. It was just like so much, and the APS-C stuff was really good. Like Nikon's color science was great. To me, a lot of people didn't like them. I don't care. I loved their color science, and I still do. They still make really great cameras. So me leaving wasn't like a disparaging thing to Nikon. It was just like I wanted to get rid of the exact problem that I'm facing now. Getting into filmmaking, getting into Sony, big cameras, big lenses. But the beauty of now versus then is like a big camera now, like the FX30 is not that much bigger than this. You know what I mean? Like the body side, like it's heavier because it's got like all the extra stuff on it, the fan and all that other stuff. But like in terms of like actual body size and lens size, like it's not that much bigger. And that's a win in all of the like tech that's been developed in the last, however many years. Like it's crazy to think that we're back to sort of like rangefinder size cameras putting out the quality that they do. So yeah, all that to say, I think this looks pretty good. And the FX30 is still A cam. This might be B cam, ZV-E10 C cam, and I think that I would be happy carrying this exact kit around all the time. 20 millimeter lens on the A7C Mark II with the mic mini, and I feel like this could be clutch for vlogging. I feel like the ZV-E10 has some better vlogging specific features, but I don't feel like it matters as much. I still think the ZV-E10 is a better, like, it's more vlogger focused, and I'll probably, when I go out to shoot with this, I'll probably carry that too, just to have behind the scenes video and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't know, man. This is like, there's just something about it. Like, the best, like, out of the box colors I've seen on a Sony so far. And, you know, it's still got all the dynamic range, so it's really easy to edit. I like this look. I think I need to like desaturate just a little bit, or maybe tweak the colors, because I feel a little tan, like not I don't feel like I'm the right color brown. You know what I mean? Like it looks like more gold than anything else, and I don't know. But I like the greens, which is super important to me. And we're at F11 and not like stopped down, so I don't know. Maybe it'll be different when I slap an ND filter up here. But I think for now, at least, this is a great kit. The A7C Mark II, so far so good. Got a shoot coming up in 2 weeks. Well, in a week from this week. So we'll test it out. We'll do a full run, test this, test the ZVE10, and really get it like moving, and see how good these cameras actually are at what they claim to be for. And then, like, you know, this might just be the hybrid cam, and maybe we'll trade the ZVE10 in for the A6700, but we'll see. Yeah, I feel like there she goes again. I feel like the A67 might have been the move instead of the ZVE10 for me specifically, because of the viewfinder. Honestly, because of the viewfinder, I really didn't think that it would be as important to me as it is. But anyway, I gotta go. All right, in a minute. Peace.